Okay, so in our previous video what we did was we followed a path with one object. This time what we're going to do is not only follow the path with our object, but we're also going to animate within the symbol so that we can actually make it look like the animal is moving within the symbol. So this time we're going to create a caterpillar, and we're going to use the tools that are available within Animate to create the design for the caterpillar. And then within that caterpillar we're going to animate him, or within that symbol we're going to animate, but we're also going to animate the symbol so that it moves across the screen. Okay, so our first task is to create a segment for our caterpillar. So I've chosen a green caterpillar. You can change your color, your fill color of your circle to create a different one, or to create a different color. And then I'm going to choose the selection tool once I've drawn my circle. I'm going to copy and paste it, and I'm actually going to use this second circle to cut part of that first circle out. So I'm going to just simply put my second circle over the top, so you can see I've got two circles overlapping. I'm going to click on the second circle and I'm going to delete the green fill, and that's actually going to leave us just with this part of the circle here. Then I'm going to click on the line, and you'll see that that's actually selecting just the segment of the line that's outside of the first shape. And so when I delete that, I'm left just with one segment for my caterpillar. Now I'm going to copy that and paste it and position it roughly without them overlapping. So make sure they don't overlap. Then I'm going to paste again and position it roughly without it overlapping. I'm going to select all three, copy and paste them, and position them, and paste, and position. Now you can bump those a little bit closer if you want. Make sure you select both the line. You'll see when I select it selects just components, so make sure that as you're moving them, you move them a little bit closer and select the whole shape rather than just a part of the shape. Like that. Use our free transform tool, and you can see I've missed the line there, so select both the line and the shape. Oh, I'm making a mess of this. I'm going to leave them as they are because that's not important for our animation. So now we've got all the segments of our caterpillar. I'm going to choose my selection tool, and I'm going to select all of those shapes, and we want to turn these individual segments into one symbol. So right click on there and then come down to convert to symbol. This time we're going to animate our symbol, so we need to make sure that it is a movie clip, not a graphic, because graphics are still, movie clips can be animated. And then we give it a name, let's call it caterpillar. Okay, and say okay. So we've now got our symbol for our caterpillar. You'll see up here at the moment we're editing scene number 1. If we want to edit within this caterpillar symbol, then what we do is we double click on it, and you'll see up in the top corner it now tells us that we're editing scene 1 caterpillar, which is that symbol. Okay, so double click on it, make sure you're editing the caterpillar, and then we're going to choose to use the bone tool. The bone tool allows you to add shape or add bones, armatures, armatures to a shape. So within our caterpillar, we're going to add a series of bones connecting the segments. So you can see I've just used my bone tool to draw from the first to the second shape, and I'm going to continue my bones and go to the third shape, fourth shape. I'm letting go of my mouse each time I get to a next shape, and then clicking and dragging to the following shape, and you can see progressively my caterpillar is getting a series of bones straight down the middle. What that now allows us to do is create different poses using those bones. Okay, so you'll see down here on my timeline, I've got all my bones, I've got an armature layer, and on this armature layer you can create poses. So at frame 25, about 1 second, I'm going to right click and I'm going to insert pose. So frame 1 and frame 25 are both going to be the caterpillar as you see. Then in between those, I'm going to find about frame 12, and I'm going to right click and insert another pose, and while that pose is still selected, I'm now going to grab my selection tool, and I'm going to get the tail of the caterpillar, drag him up, and you'll see how the bones allow us to create movement within our caterpillar. I'm going to drag him up so that he comes up. Oh, and I should have reorientated a little bit, and then I'm going to grab that same segment and I'm going to drag it back down and try to position him so he looks like he's going up into an arc, and then back down. That's beautiful. And so when I now look at my caterpillar, you'll see he starts flat, he goes up into his pose, and then he goes back down. So he looks like he's crawling. Now you only need to do one of those because the symbol is just going to replay that animation over and over and over again. Okay, so now that we've created our animation within our symbol, Control-0 takes you back to full screen. I'm going to go back to editing my scene instead of my symbol. Now I'm going to repeat the steps that I did in our previous video for a path-based animation to animate a symbol. So I'm going to right-click on frame 1 and I'm going to create a motion tween. You'll see it defaults to 1 second, but I'm going to drag that out to about 3 seconds because one wiggle took 1 second. So we want him to wiggle 3 times. And then at the 3-second point, I'm going to put him where I want him to finish. So let's make him finish off the screen over here. And at the 1-second point, I'm going to put him where I want him to start. So back here at frame 1, he's starting on the left. At 3 seconds, as I move my timeline across, you'll see he moves across the screen. Now you'll notice the symbol doesn't animate. In order to actually preview your completed animation, this is just showing the motion of the caterpillar, but it's not animating within the symbol. In order to do that, what you need to do is go to Test and choose to test the movie. Not test. So if you run that, it'll open up a browser and load your animation, and there's our symbol animating as well as our caterpillar animating. And so it's created a HTML5 object of our caterpillar and our symbol with the path-based animation.